Hi, this is Dr. Vicki Stein, and I would like to welcome you today to the ABCs of Improving Mental Health with Lifestyle Changes. Today, we're going to be talking about the gut. And I know that most people don't really think about the gut when they think about brain health, but the gut and the brain are actually connected, and the health of your gut is really important to the health of your brain. So when we talk about the gut, we are talking about this midsection of our abdomen, the part of our body that contains the stomach and the colon, the large intestine, small intestine. And the brain and the gut are actually connected by something called the vagus nerve, which runs from the base of the brain into the gut. And this nerve is a bidirectional pathway, which means that information goes from the gut to the brain and from the brain to the gut. So think about a time when maybe you were excited or nervous, like maybe you had to do a public speech, or you were getting on a roller coaster, or learning how to drive a car for the first time, and you would think about, oh my gosh, I'm really nervous. So you have this thought, and then you end up with butterflies in your stomach, or a stomach ache, or some other issue around your gut. So the brain and the gut are constantly in communication with each other. In fact, the gut is often called the second brain. So it is important to understand that good gut health is important for good brain health, because one of the things that I will be talking about in another video is about inflammation, and inflammation can occur if the brain and the gut are not working optimally together. So we want the gut to have a good gut flora, which means that bacteria that is stored in the gut. So we want, I've shared my screen with you, and you can see that dysbiosis is a term that is used for an imbalance of good bacteria and bad bacteria. So if we have too much of the bad bacteria and not enough of the good, then our guts will be out of balance and can create some issues with our health, including our mental health. So this is called the leaky gut, and I wanted to just explain a little bit about what the leaky gut is. You can see from this picture that there are these cells that are lined up next to each other that have these little hairs on top. And those cells line our gut, line the intestine in a way to protect our bloodstream from things that should not be leaking into the bloodstream, that should be actually staying inside of the whole digestive system. And you can see that there looks like almost little shoelaces. I can show you like right here, these little shoelaces that keep these cells close together and allow for this border. And then these little hairs on top are also a brush border that helps to keep the bad stuff, the good stuff in, and keep the other stuff from leaking out. But you can see in this picture that there is a break in these shoelaces, and those little green dots are indicative of molecules of things that might be leaking, literally leaking out into your bloodstream, causing problems. It can cause allergies, it can cause inflammation, and there are a variety of things that can cause a leaky gut, one of which could be an allergy or food sensitivity to gluten or to other foods. It can be medication, it can be stress, potentially. There are lots of reasons that we have a leaky gut. So what are some of the things that happen, and why is this important in terms of brain health? When we have a leaky gut, it can create depression, it can create mood swings, nervousness, aggressive behavior, fatigue, malaise, poor memory and concentration, confusion, schizophrenia, and food and environmental sensitivities. So when a client comes to my office, one of the things that I like to look at is whether somebody's gut is performing optimally. And so we want to look at things like whether somebody is constipated or has diarrhea, whether they have excessive bloating, discomfort when they eat certain foods, etc. Now, I cannot do testing because I am not licensed to do that kind of work. So I usually work collaboratively with other practitioners to have stool samples taken or other testing done to see if we are perhaps dealing with the leaky gut. There are lots of foods that can be eaten to help to balance a leaky gut. There are supplements that can be taken. This is something that can be repaired, and that when we repair it, we do see some tremendous improvement in things like anxiety and depression, and maybe aggressive behavior. So we will talk more about that in some other videos that are coming up. So thank you today for showing up and learning a little bit more about the gut, and I look forward to our next talk.